Do you like horror? Do you like the feeling of being scared? Do you like when that little wet trickle of piss runs down your leg when spooky noise happen? Have millions of years of evolution and survival instinct given your brain an elevated response to these stimuli? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then Choose Your Own Adventure Horror is the game genre for you. It's probably already your jam. And hey, if activating your fight or flight response for fun isn't your cup of tea, stick around, because there is so much that this genre has to offer for silly little wimps like you. Originating at the first baby jump scare of Peekaboo, I would consider myself quite a horror sommelier, but if there's one thing about horror movies that has really just put my balls in an anthill, it's the characters. I mean, seriously, for every one well thought out, well written, well done character, there are probably two absolute brain-dead Neanderthalic descendants. I'm talking some of the stupidest people that have ever been put to fiction. Yes, I'm fucking looking at you, Mark! Pissing on the ancestral tree? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why didn't you go find a fucking porta potty? Or an anthill, or something? And I'm sure you sit there watching these videos like, damn, that's crazy. Me and my boys, Tucker, Clayton, and Dimbus could have easily kicked that snowflake Jason's ass. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I was 8, and Tucker, well, he's a blue belt in Krav Maga. And Dimbus will fuck you up. And the point of Choose Your Own Adventure Horror is to say, oh yeah? Prove it. That's why I love the genre so much. By combining some extremely rich and compelling stories, on top of you being able to have your own influence on the story, making the characters' decisions as you see fit, it makes the player take their chip and dip it an extra layer deep into that Super Bowl party dip of a game, and you just found guacamole in that motherfucker. So today, I want to sit back and talk about what make these games such special little snowflakes. Even if these special little snowflakes can't do co-op after 4 years of trying. Just stop doing it. You don't have to. It is the first in a series of videos that I'll be making that looks at the genre of Choose Your Own Adventure Horror, but before we do that, I do want to make an honorable mention to a book series that inspired my love for horror, the Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure, the Give Yourself Goosebumps series of books. Give Yourself Goosebumps, published from 1995 to 2000, was R.L. Stine's attempt at a Choose Your Own Adventure narrative, where at the bottom of each page it would give you 2 decisions and you would flip to the according page. And it blew my fucking mind. Never before did I think that I could have this level of control in a medium, making decisions? Fuck no, I sit in the back seat with my big brother and we're fucking fighting over the middle armrest. But now, I'm in the fucking driver's seat, baby. But enough about books. What do I look like, a fucking nerd? Let's talk about video games. In fact, we're gonna talk about one of my absolute favorite video games, not just in Choose Your Own Adventure Horror, but in horror. Let's talk about the first season of the Walking Dead Telltale series. Telltale's The Walking Dead is a game about redemption. It is also one of the best tragedies of any medium I've ever seen.
No kidding. But frankly, I think it's because he's dumb as a bag of hammers.
The story asks morally dubious questions through the eyes of Lee Everett, a character who begins his story in handcuffs.
Well, I reckon you didn't do it then.
I love that we meet Lee in the back of a police car. We meet him in handcuffs. We meet him at his lowest moment in his life. And I think because he is at that low, we see an incredible lens into his soul as the story goes on. We get to see Lee make decisions, grow, and change in according to his past to really and truly redeem himself.
I've got a little girl I'm trying to protect in here too. You want to get violent, you old fuck? Well, come on! You better have a plan to kill me though, because it's me before anyone else in here!
Lee begins his story in handcuffs, speaking to the most Georgia cop to ever Georgia cop.
Gotta stop. That's government property, and I'll be forced to zap him otherwise.
And the best part of this scene isn't his sultry country accent. It's when we're given a bit of thematic foreshadowing.
It goes to show, people will up and go mad when they believe their life is over.
The game doesn't allow you to
I
process
got another
this.
good one for you. This one's a little bit less depressing and a bit more hilarious, if I do say so.
In the road!
This other time...
Might I say, the beginning to this game, fucking sublime.
Officer? Don't make me do this!
God damn it, Lee. That's the second homicide you committed today.
Skin's all rotten and he smells like shit. What the hell is this? Help! Go get someone! There's been a shooting! Ah!
There's a storytelling technique called the low point, when a character's fears are realized or their nightmares come true. This game feels like one large low point.
Hello? Anybody?
Lee finds himself in an abandoned house.
Coming in. Don't shoot, okay? I'm not an intruder. Or one of them. These people may need more help than I do. Furniture overturned, blood everywhere. Jesus. God, that kid lived here. This whole neighborhood is deserted. What the hell? What's that beeping? Maybe there's something on there.
3 new messages. Message 1, left at 5:43 p.m.
Hey, Sandra. This is Diana. We're still in Savannah. Ed had a little incident with some crazy guy near the hotel, so we had to get him back to the ER and have it checked out. Anyway, he's not feeling well enough to drive back tonight, so we're staying an extra day. Thanks so much for looking after Clementine, and I promise we'll be back in time before your spring break.
Message 2, left at 11:19 p.m.
Oh my God, finally. I don't know if you tried to reach us. All the calls are getting dropped. They're not letting us leave and aren't telling us anything about Atlanta. Please, just leave the city and take Clementine with you back to Murrieta. I've got to get back to the hospital. Please let me know that you're safe.
Message 3, left at 6:51 a.m.
Clementine, baby. If you can hear this, call the police. That's 911. We love you. We love you. We love you.
Daddy?
Huh?
Hello?
You need to be quiet.
From here on, Lee is thrown into the role of the protector. We see these two characters grow and change throughout the story, and that's what it's focused on. It is... The story shows these two characters grow and change. We see Lee soften to the role of a father figure, and Clementine harden to the world that she inhabits. It is a brilliant dichotomy that meets in the middle for one of the most effective and heartbreaking game endings I have ever seen, but we'll get there. Before I talk about really what makes this game so darn tootin', I feel like I should give a massive spoiler warning. I will be talking about this entire game from this point forward. I will be spoiling the shit out of it. If you want to play it, and you should, I highly advise that you stop watching this video and come back when you do. Alright, let's recap the story. So after Clementine and Lee meet, we go to Herschel's farm. We meet Herschel and his son. We leave Herschel's farm. Bye, Herschel. I hope your son's okay. Our group of intrepid adventurers make their way into Macon thanks to a ride from new characters Kenny with Katja and Duck.
You've got that ride to Macon if you want it. Hey there! Fuck!
We're trapped! Ah!
Surrounded by walkers, we're rescued by a new group living in the pharmacy. Let's meet the gang! We've got our resident racist, Larry, who tried to murder Lee at the end of episode 1, but no one seems too bothered by it.
We gotta throw him out, or smash his head in.
Lily, the self-proclaimed leader of the group, who's about as inspiring as the smell of your middle school gym clothes. Carly, a journalist who knows about Lee's past, leading to an actually fantastic scene where Lee's not only confronted about his past, but his history with this pharmacy.
Find anything?
It's a photo of the family who own this place. Might help us track down the keys to the office.
I know who you are. You're Lee Everett. You're a professor at Athens who killed a state senator who was sleeping with your wife. This is your parents' store. Folks around town know the owner's son got himself a life sentence, but I'm a reporter for WABE in Atlanta. I paid attention to that trial. Maybe you're a murderer, but I don't really care. Frankly, that's a skill that might come in handy. Did you tell anyone out there who you were, or that you were tied to this place?
No, I've been sticking to first names for a reason.
You seem like an okay guy, and the last thing we need is drama out there. You've got this little girl to take care of, and look, don't make me wrong on this.
I don't plan to.
Good, because if this lasts longer than a few days, and you're a detriment to the group, then we'd have a problem.
I hear you.
I'll just keep it to myself.
Thanks.
Don't worry about it.
We've also got Doug, a technological wizard. If anybody could survive the apocalypse in Chacos, it would be Doug. Glenn, a man so cosmically horny that he risks him and his friend's life for some infected coochie.
Said go away! I'm bit! But you wouldn't just leave.
Let's calm down. You could be fine.
I won't be fine. My boyfriend was bitten. You get sick and you die, and you come back and you kill anything you can find.
You have a boyfriend?
Glenn?
Kenny, a man who is marginally more inspiring than the smell of your middle school gym clothes. Katja, a veterinarian, and Kenny's wife, Duck's mom, one of the sweetest characters in the game. and Duck. A character that absolutely everyone, including his own father, says is an idiot, but he's a child. Now this chapter has moments that are good, that are bad, and are downright fantastic. So let's start with the good. A moment where Clementine questions Lee about the case, about his murder, about what Carly said in the conversation that they had. It is a brilliant reflection that you can respond to in a multitude of ways.
Lee?
Yeah?
You're not bad, right?
Why are you asking me that?
That lady said you killed someone. Was that because he was one of the things trying to eat you?
No, he wasn't.
Oh. Was he bad?
He was.
There's the bad, where we try to help Glenn get his dick wet, but instead end up assisting a suicide.
Who is it?
It's a girl. We talked and she got frightened. I was trying to get in and help her, and she started yelling and saying I was bitten. I tried to convince her I wasn't, and that's when all these guys came out of the forest. A couple almost got me, and I ended up hiding in the ice machine.
Lucky you. Now let's go.
We can't just leave her.
Damn right we can.
You guys are suicidal. Over a girl.
And then there's the fantastic. When Lee finds the keys to the back of the pharmacy, he finds them on his brother, and he gets to say goodbye.
Be careful. Keep an eye out, will you? If you were there, you would have died for them. So, yeah, I'm gonna assume that's what happened.
Did you find them yet?
Give me a second. I shouldn't have left the family. Fuck. I mean, you know what I mean.
The game's insistence that you put in an input for every strike, I think makes this moment a lot more effective.
There we go.
Oh no. Shit. We gotta hurry.
Are you sure? Yes. Oh, shit. Okay, then.
In the end, you do get a choice between Carly and Doug, and let me just say, I'm rocking with socks and sandals.
Ah, sorry, Carly, I guess I like the tech guy more than the girl with the gun. Oh, God.
Holy... Let's go!
They got Carly!
Doesn't matter. You gotta move.
Oh, and Larry, if you did want to hate crime someone, you should probably do it now.
Efficient son of a bitch.
No!
I'm not letting somebody else get eaten today. Especially a good friend.
And that takes us to episode 2. While most remember the dynamic nature of Lee and Clementine, with almost every scene between the two of them being absolute bangers, episode 2 takes a steep departure from that.
And I gotta be honest, I didn't like it very much. Let me explain.
Okay, first off, we're introduced to a new character named Mark. No, not that Mark. This Mark.
And in a scene where it seems like Mark and Lee are gonna talk about being hungry the entire time, the episode starts with a bang.
Don't. Gunshot'll bring walkers. One bird's not worth it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just really frickin' hungry.
Shit, was that Kenny?
I don't know. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how someone steps in a bear trap in the middle of a field, just open, but yeah, sure. Hey man, that's fine. You're lost.
Jesus Christ.
Literally. But what's established, other than amputeed college kids, is that the group is hungry.
But a group, all of a sudden, comes to rescue them. See, these are the St. John's, and Deacon wants to take us in exchange for gasoline. A good proposition. The only problem is that the St. John's are possibly the most comically evil bunch in the history of fiction. I'm talking locked room in a barn nobody's allowed in. Deacon absolutely fucking braining some lady after she was clearly about to drop some exposition.
Killing everywhere. Take all the dead folks you want. We'll make more. Go on. Tell him, boy. Tell him what you got in mind for us.
You straight up murdered that woman.
Hardly.
And bandits that are shooting at Mark and Lee, but honestly, that's fine, all right? Lee is the main character, so he can't die. And Mark just got here. So with the power of plot armor, we will trudge into the grimy deep into the Mark, no! It's okay, we can just go explore the house. Wait a minute. What? It turns out that they're cannibals and they've been they're eating Mark. They've been eating people this whole time. And that explains the butcher, like the shot, like the room with the, that's crazy, what a twist. I'm shocked.
I would say the only actually compelling thing that The Walking Dead does in this episode is how they handle the fate of Larry's character. After he collapses in the aforementioned room that nobody's allowed in, which is obviously a slaughter room, you get the choice to kill him. The man who tried to kill you first. But other than that,
I think it departs so much from what makes the game really good, which in my opinion is interpersonal conflict, not some gimmicky, oh, but what if there was cannibals type of bullshit, you know what I mean? It both sets up and concludes arcs. It sets up in the same episode, and for that reason the payoff doesn't feel worth it at all. It just feels like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened, it was like 20 minutes ago. So on the back of an episode that really pulled me out, I was ready to make a video talking about downfall this, the fall of that. This wasn't as good as you remember. Then I played episode 3, and that shit fucking hook, line, and sinker pulled me right back in. because the conflict pivots from external threats like cannibalistic farmers or bad writing,
and pivots to internal threats from characters that we've already established. And because they're characters we've already established, it means more. It hits harder when the betrayal is coming from the inside.
It's not going to be easier out on the road!
How would you know?
What I know? I know you're not above murder. I know somebody has been stealing our supplies. That's right, stealing! And I know the list of people I can trust here gets smaller every day!
And they begin to pull on some fantastic plot threads that keep the audience engaged. But I think for the rest of this video, I want to talk about 4 characters alone that I think make this game fantastic. And that is Kenny, Lee, Clem, and Ben. Ben is one of the most hated characters in The Walking Dead, with Lily and Larry making it a competition. No one proves themselves to be more incompetent, more foolish, more woefully unprepared for the apocalypse than this Gumby-looking ass. Introduced as one of our college kids in episode 2, Ben survives way longer than many capable survivors. Yet most often, he's not the one being punished for his own stupidity. Here is a nice example. Starting in episode 3, Lily begins to notice food going missing. Lee investigates, and Duck helps too. And Lee finds the supplies. But the bandits on their way to pick them up come too. The group just about gets away. Just about. In this moment, a certain character, Lily, who seemed to be one step away from snapping this entire game, snapped. Yeah, she shot Dougie Doug fresh in his Dougie Doug face, thinking that he, or someone, was taking the food. And the game lets you simmer with that, thinking maybe that Lily was right. Maybe it was Dougie Doug fresh in his Dougie Doug face. And then...
It was me. Huh? I was the one giving the bandits supplies.
Ben was one of those characters that should have died within the first 8 minutes of the apocalypse, but due to the competence of those around him, he managed to survive. You, in fact, are the one that gets to answer the question of if he is a person worthy of being saved. You decide whether or not he is capable of redeeming himself despite his actions. You decide to save him. His true fate will be decided by another character, the one that was most affected by his actions. Kenny, on his own, is a very controversial character. He certainly has the most layers and goes through the most changes through the story. His arc brilliantly portrayed by actor Gavin Hammond, whose roles expand beyond The Walking Dead. He is also every NPC in the Hitman series. But in the game, Kenny loses absolutely everything. He falls further than anyone else. A man who had a plan, albeit a doomed one, and he pushes steadfast into it at the expense of the group. Kenny is stubborn, with a constant hope and vision for the future. As Kenny descends, after he loses his kid to a bite and his wife to suicide, and that vision wavers into uncertainty, one cannot help but feel sympathetic. In a beautiful scene, in a heartbreaking scene, as he stares in the face of a boy who looks just like the son he lost, you get the choice to remedy the grieving man. Truthfully, Kenny is a character that is easy to dislike. His confidence morphs into stubbornness when the stress begins to mount, and that stubbornness is noticed by Chuck. But Kenny is also a man put under tremendous pressure. It mounts when Kenny and Ben's arc collide. When Ben decided to reveal that he was the reason that Duck and Katjaa died. Now you'd think that you'd wait until like a very calm moment to oh no wait, he's doing it now?
Kenny, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, man.
Kid, this ain't the best time. Whatever you did, save it for later.
I opened the door. I let them in.
I said save it for after we get out of here.
Ben, we don't have time for this now.
I'm sorry, Lee. I can't do this anymore. He's got a right to know.
Know what?
It's been me all along, putting all of us in danger. Katjaa and Duck, it was all me. It was all me.
Wait a minute. What are you saying?
It was me who made the deal with the bandits at the motor inn, slipping them supplies. I thought maybe I could keep them off our backs.
But as I opened with, The Walking Dead is a story about redeemable characters. And in questioning whether a character is capable of redeeming themselves, do you, as Lee, believe that Larry is worth trying to save? Someone that has at the same turn gone out of his way to try to kill you? Do you believe that Ben is worth trying to save? Can you blame someone for being woefully unprepared for the apocalypse? Do they deserve to die because they're not prepared? Do you believe that Lily is worth keeping around despite shooting Dougie Doug fresh in his Dougie Doug face? Is Lee, a convicted felon, a murderer, capable of being a father figure? Is he capable of taking care of a kid? These are all questions The Walking Dead decides to pose to the player. And while these decisions don't outright change much about the game, it is still a fantastic moral conundrum given to the player that warrants the title of a choose-your-own-adventure game, albeit it feels more like a find-your-own-path within this adventure game, because your decisions don't outright affect the story in any tremendous way, but the story definitely changes. In the end, if you decide to save Ben and take him with you, he is impaled on a post. Kenny, with one bullet left, uses it on Ben. I believe that this is an act of forgiveness. And that pushes us forward to that ending. Woo! That motherfucking ending. I'm thinking about editing this and I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy about it. There are certainly games with better mechanics. There are certainly games that allow you to derail the story into silly little tangents that get your plot line ended prematurely. But The Walking Dead asks questions that, due to its interactive medium, asks extremely compelling moral questions to the player. It is a game that was a decade ahead of its time, trying to do something new to the genre with one of the most popular IPs in the world that year. Clementine talks about Lee in later seasons. It's clear that she lives on because of him. There are several standout scenes between the two of them that are just worth experiencing. Their dichotomy as two people unprepared for the roles that they've thrown into being brilliant, as both rely on each other to help them survive. Lee Everett, a character that begins and ends his story in handcuffs, is completely and totally redeemed. It's only fitting that he found his life's purpose once the world began to fall apart. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. There's a fly in here somewhere. I hope you guys take care. This was a new project for me. First video that I'm doing, so I'm excited. I'm going to be posting more about the Choose Your Own Adventure horror series, and then I have a couple other projects that I'm working on as well. So I'm very excited to keep giving you guys more content. But I hope you guys have a good day and treat yourself with kindness. Thank you very much.